Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good morning if you're watching this live. Welcome. Here we are for another study of one of the books of André Luiz called Green Light. So here we have the wise words of André Luiz through the blessed mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. And today we're going to talk about chapter 30. And André Luiz titled this chapter Ways to Always Help. So let's look at today is more of a to-do list and things that we can do every day, all the time, while we still have the blessings of this reincarnation. So he says, without any special resources, you have the power to renew and rebuild your own life. Unquote. You have the power. We can renew and rebuild. So we renew the old habits. We renew the things we're doing that don't work for us anymore. We renew ourselves through the experiences we have, and we grow and rebuild. We learn how to be in society. We learn how to treat one another. We learn how to be better spiritual beings, thinking about what to learn for the long term. And so he says, you can still always do the following. That's my addition. He says, you still can always bring joy where trials are obscuring tranquility. So if you see someone that is not tranquil, is not serene, experiencing trials, he says you can bring joy to that life, to that person at that moment, which may be the lifeguard, it may be the life jacket they need in order to have the strength to continue. You still can always strengthen goodwill where courage is lacking. How many times our courage lacks, right? We are here to bring these teachings to our daily life, not to discourage us, but to analyze. Sometimes courage is lacking, and then we can strengthen our goodwill. We can continue in the good works. It's going to be hard when you decide to go against this stream of indulging only on the physical senses where reincarnated, which is where the good majority of the incarnate beings in the world are. The majority is there. So when we decide to grow a little bit above, then we have resistance. So if courage is lacking, we strengthen our goodwill. Teach resignation where suffering dominates. Sometimes we experience suffering. We are in a phase. So remember, life is made of cycles and phases. Nothing lasts forever, not even suffering. Not joy, nor suffering, not where we are in this world right now. Maybe in the celestial worlds where Jesus lives with all the Christ spirits, then there's no suffering. But here, if suffering is dominating people we love, ourselves, our communities, then we teach resignation. We work to improve the conditions, but we also resign that may be the message, that may be the lesson we need to learn, and we work to improve and get away from that situation, to resolve those issues, and maybe lessen the suffering. Maybe there's something that you can offer to lessen the suffering of those around you, and we should offer. We should remove people from harm's way if we can, if it's wise to do so, right? We're not going to let people suffer. Oh, let them be resigned. They are hungry. There's no food at the food bank. Let them be resigned to be hungry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we see the challenge, for example, of having a limited budget. We resign that that's where we are, and then we do what? We are humble to go help. And if we have the means, we donate to the food bank. If we need to go to the food bank, we go, because we always visualize ourselves as the helpers, but sometimes we will be the ones who need to say help and give others the opportunity of serving by helping. He says, elevate the atmosphere at work where discouragement appears. Many times we see that discouragement comes to spiritist groups, for example. Oh, not as many people. I don't have as many pretty Instagram images. I can't put videos of 50,000 people in an audience. No, discouragement is where you are today, is where you need to serve. So we elevate the atmosphere by reminding folks of the responsibilities, the role that each and every group has in this planet. This is a good one. Be able to find blessing amongst censure and criticism, unquote. So, how many times today, especially nowadays, that's really easy. I'm counting how many um, ways to help is going to present it to us today. How many are criticizing and censuring others without looking at the speck in their own eyes? Especially when it's very easy to leave an anonymous comment, which saying things we would never say in person, or we're so enraged and fighting with the instincts of our millennia of lack of knowledge of the divine laws, or not lack of knowledge because the laws are in our conscience, but the lack of application or instinctual nature, and then we feel entitled to hurt others, to be rude, to be aggressive, and criticize and censure others. We need to be the ones who find blessings even when we're criticizing, and we need to be the ones who stop the evil. Because if we see people being bullied and criticized and censured and we don't do anything, there's no neutral. There's only doing good or not doing good. So that's a lot of food for thought. Plant the flower of patience in the thorn bush of irritation. When we feel irritated, someone cut you in traffic. Maybe your coffee wasn't done right. Maybe you left late because someone in your house wasn't ready. So when that irritation comes, which is a thorn bush, what do thorns do, friend? They hurt others. They protect the plant. But when you touch it, it hurts you. So that's when we plant the flower of patience or tolerance. The word he uses is patience. So when we are irritated, we breathe in and out, we activate our parasympathetic nervous system. Sorry, friends, I got frozen there for a moment. So I was talking about when we feel irritated, we have this thorn bush, just thorns all around us, poking everybody, poking ourselves and hurting ourselves. Then we plant the seed of patience. And we have it within us, the inbuilt system that we can calm ourselves, lower our heart rate, lower our breathing, so on and so forth. It says light, enlighten, concord, and understanding where there is darkness of ignorance. So let's be understanding and kind to each and every person, incarnate or discarnate, right or on the earth's crust, in the lower zones, on their colonies all around the world that we have in the universe, for that matter. If we think about our blue planet, we are in different levels of evolution. Our mentors are not coming to us pushing us to move. They're guiding, they're counseling, but they respect our free will. So we respect the free will of others while encouraging and guiding them to move towards better states. But if you go back to item 100 of Spirit's book, the hierarchy of spirits, there's just so many types and levels and different degrees of spiritual development. Then here we enlighten and we bring understanding where others might still be in the ignorant phase. And ignorant in a sense of lacking the tools, ignoring the laws within our hearts, because we at times we are multi-dimensional, we're also multifaceted. It's not black and white as we seem to think these days, either or. It's and sometimes we will have patches of darkness within ourselves, of ignorance, and then we would love to be understood and to bring this understanding to our lives. Prepare the pathway for Jesus in the heart of those who are far away from the truth. And how do we prepare the pathway for Jesus? Yes, we can teach them. And that's what we're doing today, right? We're learning together. We can learn more about what Jesus did and the teachings in the Bible and the teachings in the books of Emmanuel, where he analyzes the New Testament verses. But also use, we apply the teachings we know in Spiritism. Jesus is the guide and the model. If he guides us towards God, he has been there, done that, so he's showing us the pathway. So if you go here, there's maybe where you encounter this. Go here, so on and so forth. So we need to know who he is, what he did, what he said. Go to the book Jesus in the Home. Beautiful accounts of Jesus' interactions with the disciples and their families, the apostles and their families. But then he's the model. So there you have how to behave in everyday life. That's how we prepare the path for others. Not by teaching and pointing fingers and try to convert them, but by showing that as a Christian and as a spiritist, because being a spiritist implies that you are a Christian, because you know question 625 of the Spirit's book. Then we do what he did. Therefore, these 9 items, I counted it, 9 items, would be second nature. We wouldn't have to think about sowing patience when there is irritation. We wouldn't have to think about resignation when we're suffering, or strengthen the goodwill of others when courage is lacking. That would be what we do, because that's what he told us the way to the kingdom, the way to God is. So those are things, ways to always help, things we can do every day. And he ends by saying you can do all of these by simply speaking the good words of hope and love. So that's your homework. That's my homework. That's our homework today, to speak the good words of hope and love everywhere you go today. Be mindful, be hopeful, be kind, be understanding. Lift those up who are fallen. Serve, serve, serve. Ways to help always. Ways to always help by the Spirit of Andrea Luiz through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. Dear friends, what a blessing to be with you today, and as always, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and God willing, I'll be back with you next week with another chapter of the book Green Light by the Spirit Andrea Luiz. I'll see you next time.